All right. Had that video shared, but some reason I lost it.
Let's pull it up.
Potential new developments in the investigation.
There's an additional piece of evidence that hasn't been released yet.
A lot of new information coming out today about the teenage suspect and the two encounters he had with school leaders the day before and the day of the shooting.
Sadly, earlier today, a fourth victim lost his life. Mara McDonald live tonight outside the Oakland County Jail. Mara, we are learning a lot about these warning signs that seem to lead up to the shooting.
Devin, that's right, including that this suspected shooter's in-classroom behavior had become so alarming, his parents were called down to the school the day of the shooting for a conference with administrators. And investigators are saying, from what they have discovered, this was not a spur-of-the-moment decision.
This was not a spur-of-the-moment decision.
Sheesh.
All right. Yes, we're going to talk about gun control. We're going to talk about everything about that case that happened in Detroit, Michigan. Savory, what any initial thoughts before I keep playing here?
Man, this is a big topic. This is a big topic. I'll tell you that much. So
the media certainly portrays it as such, that's for sure. It's a huge topic.
Yeah, especially when you put in gun laws. So, I'm excited. Let's see what angles we take here. Let's see, let's see where this takes us, man.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
I got Pepsi
Madison,
today, by the way.
Tate,
Ooh,
Hannah, and today, Justin, all dead after a 15-year-old student at Oxford High went on a rampage yesterday, with 7 others, including a teacher, wounded.
Sir, do you understand all the charges against you?
Yes, I do.
Ethan Crumbly was charged with 24 counts, including terrorism and first-degree murder in a crime the prosecutor says was no spur-of-the-moment decision.
Judge, a preliminary review of the defendant's social media accounts, his cell phone, as well as other document evidence recovered on scene, show that this defendant planned this shooting. He deliberately brought the handgun that day with the intent to murder as many students as he could.
The accused shooter's behavior.
Yeah. So just to kind of catch everyone up to speed, I'm sure most of our audience is up to speed because they're sharp. That's what they are.
Wow.
But before we do that, Savory, what do we like to do? Why are we here?
Ladies and gentlemen, throw your drinks up. I got Pepsi today. What you got, Macho?
I got black coffee. By the way,
All
shout
right,
out to
black
my
coffee.
soon-to-be
What's that?
in-law. She got me this coffee mug here. Life isn't
Ooh.
fair or perfect, but my beard is.
Ooh, cheers to that.
Cheers.
I figure I'll start with that. Drinks to the nobody. Welcome to the show. For our faithful ones, to our first timers, to our second timers, everybody, welcome to Drinks to the Nobody. I'm Savory. That's the co-star MVP, Macho himself. And today, man, we got something for y'all, man. Ethan, mass shooter, gun control laws. We're mixing both together to see the effects of gun control laws in relation to mass shooting, right? Let me run through this quick intro. Let me run through a quick intro. Everybody can know where they can find us. Let's take it at the top of the hour here. Follow us on Twitch really quick. We got the same handles, Macho Fix 88 Savory Edition. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on TikTok. Instagram, Drinks to the Nobody. Discord, we're working on that so we can grow that. YouTube, if you're joining us on YouTube now, welcome. Hit that subscribe. Hit that like if you're on right now to just show some love so our channel can get that algorithm. Again, welcome to Drinks to the Nobody. I'm Savory. This is your man, Macho. Holla at us.
All right, Savory. I got some notes here that I wrote up last night about this Oxford high school shooting. Ethan Crumbly is his name. 15 years old. Decided to open fire in a hallway. Shot approximately 30 rounds and still had 18 rounds left. Player, woo!
Oxford High School, right? So people can know.
He
North of Detroit.
his northern area of Detroit in Michigan. He is being charged as an adult for murder, multiple murder counts, aggravated assault, and terrorism. Terrorism was interesting that I saw there, Savory.
Yeah, I saw there. You put it. Aggravated assault. Yeah.
He
This is
killed
crazy.
4 and injured
Mhm.
8. One of the
Yeesh.
students there who was on the football team, I think his name was he went by number 42. Apparently tried to apprehend him, tried to disarm him, and in that exchange was unsuccessful, and his life was taken. 16
Damn.
years old. The parents are also facing charges for failure to safeguard a firearm from a minor. He, apparently met with the administrator the day before and the day of, hours before the shooting. Ethan posted on Instagram or some other social media outlet a picture of his gun that said, "Look at this beauty I just received." The other part is that he didn't have any prior school discipline issues, no prior criminal record, no
Wow.
history of mental illness. The victims were
Victims are
not
random.
were completely random and not targeted by Ethan. No historical reports of bullying, according
Really?
to
Wow.
the sheriff. Yeah. So the other interesting part here, Savory, is that the school went through several drills of this. They were training kids of this. That's why the kid went to disarm Ethan, because they knew what to do when or if there's a mass shooting on their complex. So they would do a series of drills. And in watching a lot of the video footage last night, Savory, you won't believe this. They have kids with their phones and recording a situation where someone knocked on the door as they
Yeah,
sheltered
I
in
saw
place,
that one. Yeah.
and they didn't open the door because they couldn't verify on the other end who that person was.
Yeah, which is great, I thought. And then they started running out. What door they
Yeah,
started
out
running
the
out? Was
window.
that the
They ran out of the window.
Okay, okay.
And
Yeah, I was
they
like, what's
literally
happening?
they assessed the severity of the issue. And when the person said, "I'm a sheriff, open up," they were like, we're not sure who you are." And the person was like, "Bro, I'm the sheriff,
Oh,
bro."
as soon as he said
And
bro.
as he said, "Bro," they were like, "Yo, red flag, run, get out of here."
Yeah,
He
I
said,
saw that. I was
"Bro."
like,
So I'm assuming that sheriff and police officers are going to document that and say, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't talk in that language. Also, maybe we should put some kind of visible markers inside the classroom so that people can verify who's on the other end, who's not." peepholes, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, that's just a basic breakdown. And I had some questions here, Savory, just some initial questions before I continue rolling this clip here. Was this at the beginning of the notes that I put here? Will this spark the conversation of more refined, strict gun laws? Would strict gun laws even would have prevented this drastic, egregious event? And why are kids getting their hands on these firearms? Should there be more gun safety awareness in schools and at home? Would mental awareness even help in the classrooms for these situations? Did you have any initial questions that we can work through today or no?
Yeah, so when it comes to gun laws, man, gun laws are a tricky one, right? There's a clip which I'll see if I find or just hear as we're doing this live clip, I think on Ted Cruz, right? The point is gun laws prove to not work, right?
When they don't.
And how do I say prove? Because you can look at a situation like a mass shooter and then look at the laws and say what laws in the books would have stopped him, right? And what you can argue is, oh, we just need more. Not realizing we have hundreds of gun laws, right? It's not like we have a handful. We have a lot of gun laws on the books. And our people are already complaining about that. So to think that somebody who's out to do a heinous crime like this, that gun laws would have stopped him, it's just a hard sell for me, according to what we see. So, that's my thoughts on gun laws, by the way. Yeah. So,
in my opinion, Savory, this is not about gun laws, it's about gun ban. Right. So as you continue to sit through this show, I want you guys to make that assessment based on what some of the subtle words that are being said. Gun laws don't work, but they're going to tell you it does until you don't have them. And yeah, then it certainly does work, right? In their opinion. So let me continue playing this this clip here, just to get more information in case I miss any of that in those notes.
Behavior had raised red flags before yesterday.
We have since learned that the schools did have contact with the student the day before and the day of the shooting.
Yesterday, before the shooting, that 15-year-old's parents were brought to school for a face-to-face meeting with school administrators over his classroom behavior. Just under 3 hours later, school cameras recorded him.
And what's depicted on that video?
So this is all on camera, by the way. Wow, that's egregious. That's crazy.
Honestly, Judge, I don't have the words to describe how horrific that was.
The accused shooter seen coming out of a bathroom and firing, aiming for students' heads with a gun his father bought last Friday. His parents, who briefly appeared during his arraignment, are also facing potential charges.
With the right of owning a gun comes responsibility. And the responsibility of a gun owner is to securely store that weapon and to keep it out of the hands of somebody who could kill people.
I have to say, wow, I agree with her. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, you're muted over there. I don't know why. So I see your mouth, your lips moving, but
I'm good.
I don't hear anything. Oh, there you go. There you go. You're back.
Oh, okay, I'm back. Okay. Question. You were gonna share your thoughts on why you agree with her, but I'm curious. Should the parents face consequences and how severe?
As severe as possible. Obviously, you can't charge him for murder, but you can't also charge him for terrorism. But you can definitely charge him with whatever it is you can charge him with for not safeguarding that firearm. It's very important that you safeguard your firearm. Like, why are kids getting their hands on this stuff? Like, come on, guys.
Alicia has a very relevant comment right there.
Yeah.
Lack of teaching on parents' part. My kids know gun safety and all our guns are locked up. Kids only have access with us. Sorry, I know you're going to read that too.
And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. That's the way, actually, the law says that it should be. You should have trigger guards. You should have it locked up in a box. I know there's some savvy ways to work around that, but you still have to lock them up, like stowaways. Stowaway is Savory is like when they have like these little safes in the wall where you can get an NFC card where it just has a chip, or you can use your fingerprint to open the box, so it's readily available.
The fingerprint is money now for a lot of people because that's locked in only for the people in that household. But then the training is a part of it. Any gun in the radius of your house, everybody, as early as early teen or even before that should have the basic safety training, I would say, because you have it
Absolutely.
around. You have it around. You have to, so you
And
can't
and
hide it from
again,
them.
and I see Felicia here. She's passionate about this, and I'm glad because we need
Hmm.
parents to share because we need to take we ultimately we need to take social responsibility for these shootings, whether it's in Chicago or in a suburban area like Michigan. It
Facts.
doesn't matter what you do with the police reform. This is what me and Savory has been saying. You can
Hmm.
reform the police. You can get them ready. You can put white gloves on them. You can make them concierge, but that doesn't change the hood. So you have to make sure you take social, independent responsibility and do as what Felicia said: lock up your damn guns or
Yeah,
teach your damn
facts.
kids. So and personally, I don't really want to get into it. I'm going through my own issues with my son and trying to figure out why he's doing the things that he's doing.
Mhm.
He's 13 years old, and obvious the thing that goes to my head is he's a teenager, so he's going to do stupid things. But as a parent, we have to take responsibility for our own actions and
Yeah,
try to figure out, okay, how can we make him make better decisions? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, facts. That's a
yeah.
great point. That's a great point.
Um, what do we got here with Teddy?
Yeah, let's play. By the way, did you have a section for the mind your business? You want
Oh
to do a
yeah,
vote,
of
or you?
course.
Okay, you know what?
I ca- I
Let's
came
me do
ready
that
today.
transition. Let's jump into that. I got you right now, and then I'll go into the Ted Cruz. All right.
10-4. Let's do this. Ah, yes.
Oh,
Ah, we
fresh air.
just love CNN. We love CNN. We can't
Cheers,
get
cheers to
enough.
CNN.
Cheers. I just want to just 1 second sip my coffee on this one.
Let's see what they're up to now.
First off, if anyone knows, this is Andrew McCabe here on the left, far left. I don't know how it's being
FBI.
portrayed on your screens at home.
Yeah, yeah.
This is
far
Anderson
left.
Cooper in the middle, and the one to the right, I have no
Yeah,
clue
who's
on. I
that?
don't really
Yeah,
care.
I don't know who's
But
that. Okay.
this guy McCabe is a sleazeball, in my opinion. I know there are going to be people who disagree with me, but he is a liar. He is politically
Yeah.
motivated, and of course, Anderson Cooper is going to have him on his show. Of
Yeah.
course, CNN is going to
And
have
James
this.
Comey.
Yeah.
Him
So
and
let's
James
see.
Comey
Let's
are
see what
fishy people.
brilliant, sophisticated, intelligent minds with high intellect have to say here.
Yeah, let's see what we
Well,
got
as
here.
the father of a 17-year-old senior in high school, I mean, it's absolutely chilling, and it forces me, as I hope it does every American, to ask the fundamental question of why are we putting our kids in the firing line when they go to school? Why? What is it about our country that we are awash in guns? And I say that as a gun owner, as someone who carried a gun for 21 years as a law enforcement officer. But the fact is that our situation in this country with firearms is out of control. And
Do you disagree with what he's saying there or no? I'm just curious.
wanted
What
to-
initial thoughts? And we also have to break this up because if not, they're gonna hit us with copyright issues.
Yeah, so far I do, but I'm curious to see where he's going. Yeah, but
So far, listen, I don't disagree. He's asking questions rather than making assertions.
no, but where that's what I'm saying. I want to keep listening, but where I see he's going, because what's that last part he said? What's the word he used there? And you go back a little bit, 10 seconds maybe, so I can
10
listen to that last
no,
part.
no. If you're not listening, Savory, I'm not gonna keep replaying this. I'm sorry.
Let me see right here.
All right,
Oh,
you
you went back
said
a
10
lot. I heard
seconds.
that beginning.
You
Yeah.
said
Oh,
10 seconds.
chill, bro.
I mean, come on. I'm
I
trying to
heard this
figure you
part,
out
though.
here.
like it forces me, as I hope it does every American, to ask the fundamental question of why are we putting our kids in the firing line when they go to school? Why? What is it about our country that we are awash in guns? And I say that as a gun owner, as someone who carried a gun for 21 years as a law enforcement officer.
Washing gun.
But the fact is that our situation in this country with firearms is out of control. And the perfect evidence of that is that our children are at risk when they go to school. It's just head spinning, it really is.
Julia, it's also, I mean, obviously, look,
Yeah.
we've known about
I totally disagree with
schools
all of it.
having
All of it?
All of it.
Okay, what part? Come on.
What is he talking about?
Deplorable. What do you got to say about
My
that?
first thing is what is he talking about? Like, he's painting a picture of America that kids are going to school, and the problem where he's going, knowing his ideology, is these guns out in the streets are killing people. Right? So he's going to the ideology of the country is so at risk and so dangerous, and these students are not safe, that these guns are the premise of these issues, which I'm gonna totally disagree with him. I don't
Okay.
look at the country,
Yeah.
when it comes to that, So,
I mean,
you do agree with him, so go ahead. I want to see what you want.
No, I don't. I'm not saying I agree. I said I agree with this posture.
Bro,
I
you agree
asked
with
the question.
CNN?
I didn't agree.
You just pulled back?
You got some
Nah.
nerve. Do not misquote me. I like the fact that he's asking questions. He's a sleazeball, but at least he's asking questions. And he led to his assertions, and he started saying, "Are we putting our kids in the firing lane?" No, you're not. You're not putting your kids in the firing lane. But let's continue to see where he's going with this, because they continue. They keep going from here.
Active shooter training for years now. I've gone to schools where it's done to see how it's done up close.
Oh, yeah?
Just the normalness of this is so extraordinary. That young man had multiple trainings, and they instantly knew what to do. Right. And they took their positions and they grabbed calculators and scissors and whatever else they could, with the knowledge that they might have to fight if the shooter came in.
With staplers, right? I mean, that's where we are. We've created this narrative that somehow we're equipping ourselves to deal with these school shootings. So we first tell kids, run or hide or fight in that order. Well, they did everything right today, and still 3 kids die. And then we say, well, let's just train law enforcement.
Here we go.
Wow.
You gotta love them. I love them.
Why?
They're so consistent at being terrible. I have to give them credit for that. Yes, I'm giving CNN credit, y'all, for being so terrible all the time, no matter what program you're watching.
Still is consistency for you. That's crazy.
My whole thing is,
I
don't understand. I don't understand what you're saying. Oh, yeah, that's where we are now. We're throwing sleepers. So what are you saying? What are you suggesting? We armed them, or I know where you're going. We disarm everyone.
Take it away. Let's take it away. I got the solution. That's why I know
We're
I totally
creating this narrative. Savory, what narrative are we creating? Are you creating a narrative?
Come on. This narrative that CNN and other people are pushing is really the country is extremely dangerous because we have guns in the street. That's simple as that. So the less guns we have, the less not only possibility, but they pretend like they're gonna eradicate this problem.
That's
like there won't be a black mark there.
That's so arrogant. That's so arrogant. We're gonna eradicate this problem. How? By getting the guns away?
These people
we don't need you. Do what you do as law enforcement. Y'all did a great job in this incident. Just so you guys know, as this continues, you guys will see how well they did, even though they don't really give them the credit. But check this out.
And we'll have all these drills and make sure law enforcement can get there. Well, last count, 25 agencies and 60 ambulances showed up at the school, and still 3 teenagers died. And then we say, oh, let's put
25 agencies and 3 ambulances. You know how long it took them to get there, Savory?
How long? 5
minutes. 5 minutes it took them to get there. All those agencies. I mean,
that's a good thing.
Bro,
it's bad.
Why are we celebrating the fact that they limit the casualty list? Your school did these drills so every kid in there knew what to do. They barricaded themselves. They put themselves in their rooms so you don't have 30 or 40 people killed. This kid shot 30 rounds and only 4 people were killed. Look, I know people are going to hear that and be like, well, macho, only 4 people? That's what people died. Well, death is inherent with life, guys. I hate to say it, but you're not going to come here on the side of angels and on the side of heavens and say, I'm going to save everybody's life. What are you in grade school?
Yeah,
I can change the world. Stop.
Armed
CNN never ceases to
in these
surprise.
high schools. Well, this high school had one there, and he probably did a lot of good in terms of stopping the violence. Still not enough. I mean, this is let's keep them home. This is the next solution. And so I think if we just realize now that 5 minutes everything going right. And we've in terms of response, and we still have 3 teenagers dead, 5 injured, and 1 gun and 1 suspect.
four
And that's all
dead.
it took. So my frustration.
Yeah, this was before that last person died.
McCabe's frustration as well. I mean, this is we can't do anything more at this stage.
Well, also, Andrew, I mean, you look at, again, I go back to that FBI, famous
I want to
FBI
finish with
report,
Andrew here.
and I don't have it in front of me. I haven't read it in a couple of months. But as I remember, most deaths in all of these shootings take place within the first several minutes. I mean, the killings take place immediately. That's why a quick reaction from police is so essential. But as Juliet said, I mean, 5 minutes from the time the 911 call goes in to the time of the apprehension, that's incredibly fast.
That's
and
crazy,
yet,
though. Big
all the
ups to
lives
that.
have
Yeah, why not celebrate that? That's a
Yeah,
great
that's
job.
like, yo,
Everything
yo, I'm in danger. Skrrr!
Everything
All right,
worked.
yeah.
Everything worked.
Every one of these incidents, Anderson, we study and we learn and we get better, right? So Virginia Tech years ago pushed this issue of getting the first responders to actually enter the building with long guns to be able to fight back, that sort of thing. Our folks in the FBI Critical Incident Response Group, along with their colleagues at DHS, were instrumental in developing the training that's now been pushed out hundreds of thousands of places across the country. The reactions of people, of victims, are better. The response of law enforcement is better, but it is never going to be fast enough to prevent this.
Oh, you guys sound like conservatives.
Yeah, you see? Okay, but
It's
it's never
going to prevent.
But again, why they're saying that,
happening.
though? But
And
why
as
are they
long
saying
as
that?
guns are readily available,
You see? There we go.
to
That's it.
people
Pause
like,
it. That's
you
it.
know,
That's all you
children.
need.
As long as guns are readily available, guys.
As long
I
as
mean,
guns are readily available. Here we go.
What in God's name? All
Here we
right.
go.
Anyone who's ready to vote, all in favor for my man of mine is business, or anyone on that screen that you guys saw, who's in favor of mind your business? Savory, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going to straight mind your business. I believe that man does not belong in the FBI. I'll start with that. You know, that's number one. Number
That's
two,
why
his
he's the
opinions.
former. He's former.
Yeah, he's the former. That's why he's always really like his whole point of view in all this, even when he was actually working for the FBI, right? It's really through that same narrative. No matter what happens, he's not looking at the details of how to really stop this. He's looking at the details of the political narrative. So, you know, he's this guy, man.
This is like it's a layup, Savory. It's a layup
this is
for
like,
politicians like Christopher Murphy to hit the congressional floor. But
Yeah,
before
it's
we
crazy,
get to
man.
that, before we get to the nobody versus the experts, I'm curious as to what you have in the queue here with Ted Cruz.
Yeah, I think this will take straight to the nobody versus the experts. Give me a second. Let's
Perfect.
transition here.
Let's
This
do
is
this.
actually
Let's-
take us
let's-
right there.
What do we got? I see Ted Cruz here.
That we're talking about are nothing but homemade firearms. There's nothing special about them. There's nothing weird about them. But advocates of aggressive gun control rely on ignorance to scare people. Homemade firearms aren't any more dangerous than any other firearms. And for all relevant purposes, homemade firearms are treated like any other firearm under the law. If a person commits a crime with a homemade gun.
Thank you for
Go
the
ahead.
unmute. So
Yeah.
right there, really quick, the point I wanted to play some of that as I keep playing it is we have now an example, for example, of why gun laws are not effective. That's really what we're breaking down here, right? You have homemade guns that you can make. You have weapons that are not guns, but you also have a black market, right? But let me keep talking. These are all my own thoughts, but let him keep talking. So some interesting thoughts here.
They will be prosecuted just the same as anyone else. If a felon makes a homemade gun, he's a felon in possession of a firearm and will be prosecuted. If a person knowingly sells a homemade firearm to a criminal, that person has committed a crime and will be prosecuted. Chairman Blumenthal observed that, quote, "We have no reliable metric as to any connection between crime and homemade firearms. That's another way of saying there are zero data, no evidence whatsoever that this is contributing to crime at all. This
Let me
is
fast
a
forward a bit.
push to defund the police. And
Right
the
here.
deaths follows.
I want to hear this last. I want you guys to hear this as well, right?
Here we go.
Cities, of course, all have things in common.
Inner cities.
They're all run entirely by Democrats. They all have strict gun control measures that criminals don't follow. Law-abiding citizens are disarmed, the criminals are not, and the deaths follows accordingly. And they're also all epicenters of the Democrats' radical push to defund the police. This committee has confirmed one senior official at the Department of Justice who's advocating defunding the police.
Ladies and
this committee's
gentlemen,
preparing to move forward
this
on
is a prime
second
example
senior official at the
how gun
Department of
control
Justice
laws
who's
do not
advocating
work.
defunding.
It's almost comical. I mean, obviously, 3-4 people died here, and I'm not laughing at that, but I just
played
laughing at the
random
response.
2 clips, by the way, Macho. Just random 2 quick clips here. But the point of this, he goes on and gives different example. I want to give the inner city example, how you can make your own weapons, and how a lot of these, and there's another argument of the black market. The point is, law-abiding citizens get affected by gun laws, not
When did
mass
Ted
shooters.
Cruz? When was this shot? When did he say that? Just on the timestamp of that video there. Can you check that out?
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out for
Because
you right now. This
these
was
politicians.
in May 11th, 2021.
Okay, so that was way before the incident. He's just.
Yeah.
But I'm telling
This
you,
was before.
politicians are so crafty and so, conniving and subtly manipulating that Christopher Murphy, literally just after the incident that happened in Oxford, in this high school incident here that we just showed you to open the show, literally goes on the congressional floor and has a few things to say. Check this out. Say,
Oh, beautiful transition. Love it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, our collective heart as a nation is breaking for your state.
Oh, God. Spare me.
At Oxford High School today, reports suggest that a 15-year-old turned a semi-automatic weapon on his classmates. 3 are dead, 8 are injured. Our hearts are breaking a little bit harder.
That's just so you guys can see how fast he hit the floor. 3 were dead at this point. And then the next day, the 4th person died. So this is how fast. We didn't even let the dust settle. And my man's already at the congressional
So
floor.
3 were only there. So it's almost like it's still happening or just finished. Like we don't have no.
It just,
details.
I think it was hours or even just days right after the incident.
Oh,
that
he ain't
went
play
onto the
around.
floor. No,
he took an
used his-
Uber right away to the floor. He was home. My
You
man called the
are-
Uber right
you are
away.
in
That's
rare
crazy.
form today. What
That's
did you drink
crazy.
today? You are in rare form today. What's wrong?
I hardly drink soda. Maybe this is like alcohol.
You gotta
to me.
stop doing those lives before you get on here, because you come in here with some witty responses. Well, Jesus.
In Connecticut, because we know the pain that ravages a community when a shooting happens at a school. Newtown, Connecticut will never be the same.
Oh, God.
After what happened there now almost a decade ago. Reports are that at Oxford High School, nearly 100 911 messages came into police during the time of the shooting. It gives you a vision into the terror that happens inside a school
Right.
when a classmate opens fire.
What about the terror in the hood? See, y'all could speak about this very easily. They could speak about
talk
this
to them.
so easily.
Talk
Sid.
to us
This is
right
where
quick.
I get fired up. But no one's talking about the hood still. The hood's still trash, and there's still kids killing each other. I saw a 12-year-old shoot a 14-year-old in the back with a firearm. Okay? But you ain't talking about that heinous crime, a 12-year-old. You ain't talking about little boys.
How about
who
people
have
tell you
guns.
that ain't a mass shooting though?
Oh my God. I have a quote here I read to you right before the show. You see, you're not fair. You don't play nice, do you, today, huh? Cheryl Atkinson wrote this in her latest book called Slanted. By the way, please, If you haven't read that book, please do yourself a favor. It is outstanding. Cheryl Atkinson killed it in that book.
I'll check that
Perhaps
out.
she says this, and I quote, perhaps we can agree right off the bat that if 13 people are shot at an event, it qualifies as a mass shooting, except perhaps when it happens in Chicago. She's talking about
Ooh, coming
a
in hot.
actual shooting that took place where 13 people were shot, were hit with the slugs, and they
Who's the
call
author
that,
of this book?
you know what? Cheryl Atkinson. You looking it up already? You
Yeah, I'm
you
gonna put it
in
on the
your-
chat for people because I know, to recommend it. Keep going. I put it in the chat for the people can see. All those of y'all hearing, check
he
that out on
already put it,
Amazon
the
right quick.
Amazon link too. Is it in your shopping cart? I'm curious. Did you put it in your shopping
Right
cart?
away.
No,
Right
buy
away,
it right
man.
now. Because sometimes I feel like you're real cheap. Like you don't buy stuff.
I could be. I got it. I'm a married man now, brother. You know what I'm saying? I got it. I got to prioritize what's important out here, man. You know
Oh,
what? For
man.
calling me out, I'll put that in my car right now.
You got it in the car. I want to
I don't like
see
car
you buy
covers.
it right
Man.
now.
You see? Nah. I'm gonna screen share and buy it.
I'm playing
I'll screen
around.
share and buy that. Yeah, nah. Go ahead.
Let's see what Chris got here.
I think about this first and foremost as a parent of a 7th grader and a 4th grader who are part of a generation that accepts as part of their childhood the risk of not leaving school at the end of the day because of a violent attack. That's the reality of being a kid in school today. I'm angry about it as an American, but I'm angry about it as a parent.
What about in New Haven, Connecticut, Senator? Where's Hood there? You're from Connecticut. New Haven is trash, where kids are killing each other there. But they're not doing it in the school. They're doing it in their hood. Oh, but you're not talking about that. Okay.
That my children
They call that straw man arguments, right? That's the excuses they give us in TikTok.
have to go through active shooter drills because this has become a regular facet of being a child in America.
You're going to love this, Avery.
Exposure to gun violence.
Oh, he sounds like he's crying.
It sickens me to think that my 4th grader has to worry about this when he goes to school
Oh, yeah.
every day.
What else you got, Chris? Oh, we got ourselves an ad.
Hey guys, welcome to Forward. We're a new type of doctor's office.
Join us
that's
in this commercial. We cannot advertise that.
Mr. President,
They paid you for
I understand
that?
My Republican colleagues have very strong
I don't get it.
on issues related to abortion.
Oh,
But I
you love
listened
this.
to my Republican colleagues come down here one after another today and talk about the sanctity of life. At the very moment that moms and dads in Michigan were being told that their kids weren't coming home because they were shot at school due to a country that has accepted gun violence due to Republicans' fealty to the gun lobby.
Isn't that a straw man
Wow.
argument? Isn't that a straw man argument?
Look, he's using it. That's his political narrative he's pushing right there.
Again, and folks, for the sake of time, we have to move forward here. But he continues to talk about how can you have these reservations for life in the womb, but not have life outside the womb as young as these kids are getting killed. First off, two different things, right? You cannot connect that to the womb. That is a different argument. Keep it there. Let's deal with it in a case by case issue. Secondly, he goes on to say that if we don't when we passed the most strictest gun laws, we saw crime rates go down. No, you didn't. He says, well, and then contradicts himself later by saying over 100 people a day die by the hands of firearms. So now I start to ask questions. Do you want more gun laws, or are you trying to advocate to remove guns from the citizen? Because that's not going to work either. What do you?
Yeah, and that's a beautiful transition there for a video I also wanted to play. So what does that say? They're attacking the gun culture, right? So it's a gun culture, which I'll get into this on the Sip on Facts, but they try to make it seem that there's a certain profile, there's a certain way for these mass shooters, not knowing that, hey, these mass shooters come in all different shapes, sizes, and mentalities, right? It's not
Right.
just it's a hard thing to that, which is why the FBI continues to reveal new things about these shooters, right? About like, you know, the act behind it, the motivation. It's hard, right? Which is why we're still, but the easiest thing to do is blame it on guns alone and take that power, right? So check out this clip here, right? This clip I'm gonna play really quick where we get to see the culture of gun. So right here, he's talking a bit about the gun culture in the Black community specifically and how we look at it, the stigma behind it. I think this plays a big role on why many people look at guns in a negative light.
Culture for Black people. It was just, people had guns,
right?
But there wasn't a gun culture because it was taboo as a Black person.
Right. Well, there was an illegal gun culture.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right.
And so, and that's part.
You see, that's funny, but it's sad at the same time. There's a legal gun culture, and there shouldn't be that. Why? Because there's many ways, and he's going to talk about it here, for these people to attain firearms, even legally, Macho. Right? There's many ways to do that.
I'm hearing you. I'm here. Don't confuse my silence when not hearing you. I'm listening to you. I'm really trying to. This is pretty simple. It's not very hard to wrap our heads around. There's a trade-off with arming yourselves. The trade-off is that weapon used in the hands of a human can harm and hurt someone. So we cannot look at these situations and say, well, let's utilize this situation to create a narrative that we need more gun laws. Gun laws do not affect the criminal. They do not care about your laws. They're going to get it either way. So what are you really saying? You're probably saying, let's get rid of them. Let them only belong in the hands of the police. And I absolutely disagree with that.
Facts.
It's part of the stigma that we're fighting now.
Hip hop definitely pushes that along.
It's weird though, because it's like a lot of these rappers are living in antiquity when it comes to firearms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Notwithstanding those that have felonies and so forth and so on. But like some of them, like at this point, there's no reason to be running around with a gun illegally.
Depends where you are.
That very
right.
Very
I just
so.
interviewed an artist out of Atlanta named Jerez Deshawn, and his thing is I'd rather be caught with it than without it.
Whatever I'm gonna have some fun. That's why I said right or wrong. I'd rather do time than to be dead. I can't come back from death.
Yeah.
Again,
there you go.
He's right, but you can look at it in a different perspective to the legal way of it, teaching about it, responsibility to protect yourself, right? Unfortunately, it depends where you are, like you said, right? But yeah.
Say, why does that man have to think that way? Because he lives in a very poor area because nobody wants to take social responsibility. This is how dangerous the victim mentality goes. The rabbit hole of victimhood keeps going downhill. The devil's in the details. So I don't care who got you poor. I don't care about those explanations. But you don't have to live in ignorance while being poor. You can take social responsibility for your actions. And you can literally say, hey, we need to stop this. For example, in the 70s, people were poor. In the 70s, 80s, and primarily, let's go to the 60s. There were poor people. There were racism. There was redlining. All those explanations that I hear on TikTok. Everything was there. They had liberal gun laws then, and yet you don't hear these mass shootings like you do here today with the strictest gun laws. And primarily in places like Chicago and New York and California, where those laws are extremely strict, Savory. It doesn't change anything. We need to take social responsibility for our own actions and our own children. So we need to look out for ourselves. We don't need the government to tell us how to do that. We need to do it for ourselves. Hey, if you want to throw out a safety guideline, hey, we recommend that you have your firearms this way. Allow the NRA to literally teach kids about gun safety. What do you think? Do you think the NRA could host these things in schools, after school programs to teach kids about gun safety?
Yeah, I think that would be phenomenal, man, because again, it's an ignorance, like they mentioned in the beginning of the video, but it's also the mass shootings going up. It's a bigger problem, right? Because it's a cultural thing. It's how we look at guns, right? How we look at because it's not the more guns that's like debunked. So now we got to take care of underlying issues that result in gun, right? If somebody misuses something, right? If you give your son a tool to use, you give him a hammer, he misuses it, you don't take the hammer away for life. You train him to use that hammer properly, right? So he can build stuff, so he can learn. You don't just say no hammers. This is what they're doing with guns. They're trying to take it fully away in order to, we have no excuse, like we're not going to find another tool to kill and do stuff.
Facts.
Yeah. So
All right, what do you God. And here's what Maj Tariq created he's the co-founder of Black Guns Matter. What you just saw there was Colin Noir. He also is a pro-gun advocate for Black communities. And Maj Tariq is another one too as well. So check out what he has to say here about gun laws.
Anyway, we got Maj Toure here, and he's been on the ground, in the movement, talking with folks, teaching them firearms. What is the speech is going to be about today to the conservative movement, though?
Well, we have to make sure that we're recognizing that urban America, particularly Black America, that does not mean, excluding other Americans.
Right.
This is a demographic that's been targeted by leftist media, by the left in general, to make sure that they're outside of their Second Amendment rights. We have the highest.
So I want to just hold it there, because again, this is another person, a citizen, taking social responsibility for his own area. I saw him at a hearing in Philadelphia, advocating for gun safety, for going around saying, hey, ever since I took up this job or this initiative, Philadelphia, north side of Philadelphia, which is where a lot of gun crime would happen, has seen the lowest firearm related deaths since 1979. He said this at a hearing. He said we need more of this, not more restrictions, because obviously this is working. Educating young kids, educating people on the streets, giving them the right to bear arms actually changes the environment, the spectrum here.
Yeah, his views and perspective when it comes to guns are solid, right? Like I started getting into a lot of what he does on Twitter back when I was going wild until he actually followed me on Twitter. And a lot of his content, a lot of his content actually has a lot of validity to it because it's grassroots. It's what people pretend to be doing, but he's actually doing this work, which is very inspiring. So
again, I'd rather listen to a citizen who is at the grassroots level than a politician who's sitting in their nice chairs in their nice primped up suits, where they're not even really doing anything for the inner city of their own place. Like I said, Chris Murphy is the senator of Connecticut, yet you should be worrying about gun crime in New Haven, in Bridgeport, all these places in Connecticut. Don't worry about Michigan. You got your own problems that you got to be fixing up in your own home. Worry about what's going on in your own home before you fix somebody else's. So I wanted to wrap up this segment, Savory, with this interesting video, not playing the whole entire video, but as a form of reference for our audience to go and watch this video, because I think it's pretty inspiring. Pretty inspiring stuff. Check this out.
The gun is the only way to protect yourself. You're anti-gun. You don't want nobody to have guns. But then that's gonna put my family at danger.
Show called Middle Ground, folks. Check it out.
The pool to the left, I'm gonna have all my pro-gun people go stand on the edge of that light and all my anti-gun people on the other side. First statement is, I think my views on guns could change.
It's the problem in our country. Thank you, woman.
There it is. There it is.
That's the start.
Oh, I feel like anyone's views can change on things, so I'm kind of surprised that nobody felt like it could change at all. I don't think that I could change completely to like the other side, but I would definitely be open to like looking at it from a different perspective.
Yeah, and that is where we have to really start. I have an ad here that I had to get ahead of and block out. But they ask a series of questions in this show that they're trying to find the middle ground here, Savory. So I want to play a little bit more of that and move to the last segment here.
very accommodating to both sides. That said, I feel really solid about kind of what I've learned and what I think is possible. So I feel really solid about that, although I'm, open to accommodating for people's needs, people's wishes with their rights. My name is Aaron Clayton. After the Orlando shooting, I realized that my community was very much a target. I had to get involved to do something.
Sometimes I think people on the other side of the issue don't care about me or my loved ones' lives.
I gotta go with that one. I gotta go with that one.
Actually,
Well, I mean, the area that I grew up in and where I come from, a lot of you may not be able to understand that sometimes a gun is the only way to protect yourself. We all believe there should be certain rules to getting them, but on my side of the earth, there is no gun laws. My name
Don't get no simpler than that, Savory.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked the question like, would you defend your life at all costs? And they all went to the center there. And again, yes, you would. And that's what the whole thing of right to bear arms, not only for the government, right? It's also for internal threats.
Yeah.
If you have something going on in your home or around your area and you don't feel safe, you don't have the cops there 24/7. And we already see how they demonize them when they respond to these issues. So who's going to protect us? You know what I'm saying? Who's
Yeah.
going to protect my family, my children? That's what the right to bear arms is all about.
And then, really quick here, man. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms should not be infringed. Although it's primarily
right.
for the government, I'm with that. That's clear. But again, primarily, right? Because when I see free state, anything that would be in the way of you being free. You get what I'm saying? So other people, I believe, can also get into that. Because remember, the founding fathers described the state as the people, right? And then the state is the power, right? You have the state where the people, but you also have the state as the power, right? So
And they knew because they were the ones that fought off a tyrannical over like a royalty. They fought them off. So they wanted to always have that protection in case their government became that. That's what having your arms would indicate. The other thing is to protect yourself from other threats as well. This is one of the amendments that doesn't only pertain to the government. See, free speech pertains to the government, but this one right here pertains to external and internal threats. There are other variables to this gun law, and it's not about hunting. It's not a hobby. This is real unadulterated self-protection. Some people are perverse. And Savory, you said in our live the other day that the Constitution was not written for what did the founding fathers say?
what was that I said?
It was not written for immoral people, right? Or it was written for
Oh
moral
yeah. The Constitution is only fit for a moral and religious people. Only fit,
Yeah.
they put. So it's like, it only really works through that natural agreements beforehand on
So
morality.
whether you see it in the hood or you see it in the suburbs, the people who are committing these heinous crimes are not morally fit. So they need to rightfully go where they belong, in prison.
Yeah.
It's very simple, folks. Like we talked about the crime bill. It was very needed at the time, right? Because you need to deal with crime. The trade-off is a lot of people are going to jail. The political argument is, well, a lot of one particular demographic is going to jail. That wasn't true. It was not true. It just so happens to reflect because of the smaller population of black people were going to prison, but it doesn't change the fact that they were committing crimes.
Yeah.
Don't
point, good
avoid the
point.
argument, folks. If you commit crimes, you go to jail. This is what I told my son. You're going to commit a crime, you belong in jail. That's period, the end. I'm not going to protect you as your father because I live under that authority as well. If I commit a crime, your father goes to jail. And
Yeah.
it's very simple. That's grassroots. That's how you could explain this whole being a law-abiding citizen to your children in a very simple way.
Yeah. That's a very good point, man. And what I wanted to highlight, right, as we're coming to a close of the show, I wanted to highlight some interesting thoughts, right? I won't get into the specifics of how the media covers mass shooters, right? Because that's a different conversation there. But I do want to get into some myths and facts of mass shooters, right? I think this would be really interesting.
go.
And
Let's do it.
so we like to put a certain profile on mass shooters, right? The white male shooting up. Although we have those cases, but there's tons of mass shootings that don't get covered or don't get labeled as mass shootings, unfortunately. And again, the fact is, there's no profile when it comes to that. All right, there's no profile. There's a bigger correlation of mentally ill, although not all of them are mentally ill, right? But that profile is something that, again, why do we want to do this? Because we have a show here where we're trying to unite people with different ideas. So if you think that one idea of being a mass shooter means white, male, and all that, is going to take you on a rabbit hole. Another quick one. Mass shootings are premeditated. Some are, but most take a week or more to plan the attack. So it's crazy. A lot of these are well planned and they're thinking about it, which is why a lot of these people get convicted, because you actually have a premeditated murder. One more here. The myth is mass shooters are motivated by violent media and video games. The fact is there's no credible research that connects video game usage with violent behavior. That's important to mention because a lot of politicians also try to push that. I would say on both sides, on the left and right, So this combo, as we shifting to gun control laws, we can definitely have another episode breaking down, like we always say, a lot of these issues, man. So, but yeah, that's it. That's a sip on some facts. I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode as we got straight into what Ethan did, what's been going on with that, and also gun control laws. So again, if you're still here, sticking around YouTube, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for joining us. You want to close us out, Macho?
Yeah, please share this channel. We want to break the algorithm, not because we want to be at the top of a pyramid. We want to create a community where we're having this conversation of public discourse or civil discourse or disclosures or whatever the case may be, where we can come to a place where we can shake the tree, folks, shake the tree of knowledge and see what falls out of that tree and find, like I showed in that video, a common ground or a middle ground where we can agree to disagree, learn from each other, learn from what we disagree, learn from political ideologies, but call out BS where they belong and leave them where they belong, in the trash. So yes, that's what Drinks with a Nobody are. Consider us your virtual bartenders. We're here to serve you guys with information, with perspective, and to start the conversation with people sitting around a drink, rallying around a drink. Hey, this is a safe space to have that. So thank you for joining us on our show tonight.
Cheers.
Until tomorrow, there are no last calls at Drinks with a Nobody, but keep the conversation going, folks. See you tomorrow.